Well, hello again, and welcome to another session in our annual online conference for the Ontario Network of CAPC and CPNP projects. I'm really delighted to be here with Nathan Naveau, and he's going to provide us with some Indigenous early stages teaching. So I'm just going to hand it straight over to you, Nathan, to introduce yourself and to take us through your teachings, and just want to offer you a warm welcome for being here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me here. It is an honor to talk to an awesome group of people, although I do not know who a good 99.9% of y'all who are in here, but I am very honored to sit here and speak to all of you about some stuff that I picked up over the years. And yeah, wache tante anin kwe buju my spirit name is Sound of Thunder. I'm from the Wolf Clan. I just like to quickly introduce myself, who I am, where I'm from before we start. My English name is Nathan Naveau, as you can see there. I am the Cultural Resource Coordinator here at the Timmins Native Friendship Centre. I've been here for a couple of years now, almost 2.5 years. And yeah, my first 6 months here, I was learning about the role and position, and then we went into lockdown, and now I got to relearn how to do everything again. But that's okay. It's a joy. I'm originally from Mattagami First Nation, which is about 45 minutes-ish, give or take, from Timmins. And I grew up there pretty much my whole life, most of my life. I was born by my mother's community in Saskatchewan. So I'm originally from Saskatchewan. That's where I was born. I lived quite a few years there as well. So that's where my mother is from, Northern Saskatchewan. And my father is from Mattagami First Nation, but Mattagami First Nation is pretty much my home. It's where all the cool stuff happened, I guess. And that's where I did most of my learning. So I acknowledge both my my parents' bloodlines and where my origins. I've been in Timmins for about a little bit over 10, 11 years. Yes, in Saskatchewan, yeah, Northern Saskatchewan. That's where my mother's from. She is Woodland Cree. My father is Ojibwe, OG Cree. I believe he's OG Cree, Ojibwe or OG Cree. There's some. We're trying to figure that out now, but pretty sure he's OG Cree. One of my grandmothers is actually from up north, so I'm part Woodland Cree, part Swampy or James Bay Cree, part oh, look at us Saskatchewan folk here. We're everywhere. But yeah, so I just like to acknowledge that and where I'm from, who I am. I've been traveling, going to ceremonies, for the past 10 years. I started learning drumming when I was about 15. That was 11 years ago now. But I'd just like to say, even though I've been doing it for over 10 years now, I'm still at the very beginning of learning. Just because I know a little bit doesn't make me any cooler than didn't make me better than anyone else here, right? So I'm still learning a lot myself. So I just like to say that and acknowledge that I'm not a master at any of this, but what I do share is what I picked up over the years and things that I've been through, right? So I just like to say that now. Another thing before I begin, different areas may have, well, most likely, possibly, maybe, might have different teachings and different ways of doing things. So what I'm going to be sharing now comes from the area around here and what was taught to me from around here, from my teachers and elders and knowledge keepers that shared some of this knowledge with me. So what I'm going to be sharing today is some of the 7 rites of passages. In my college years, I used to sit with one of our elders here in Timmins. His name is David Ferries. And this was one of the main teachings that he really loved to share. His teacher of these was a man named Harry Snowboy. He's one of the traditional knowledge keepers in the Quebec side. I can't I can't remember what reserve it's called where he's from, but his name is Harry Snowboy, and he's one of the Sundance Chiefs too, and he's one of the I've had the privilege to meet him, listen to him talk last year, and he's a magnificent teacher. And so he shared that with one of my teachers, and I've listened to it so many times, or I've done it with my own daughter, and now I get to share a little bit, and with the hopes that y'all are going to be curious and reach out to people in your own areas to hopefully bring these into some of your clients one day, or your own children, or just to learn about it. All right. So Debbie's telling me to breathe. I got a lot to talk about in such a short amount of time. So if you don't hear me breathing, I'm fine. Unless I fall flat onto the camera, then maybe you should check up on me.
Yep, please don't do that.
Okay, I have one of the students in Northern College here with me. She'll check up on me.
It's okay. We've got all the time in the world.
All right, so I'm just gonna get right into it now. Now that I got all that stuff, so y'all can hear me very clearly, right? Like I don't have to. I normally talk loud, but sometimes I kind of get a little quiet. But y'all can hear me pretty well.
Hear you and we see you. It's good.
Yay! You can kind of see my flyaways there. Just kidding. I'm a silly person, so I have a really hard time calming myself down when I get a little bit. So if I get a little weird, and yeah, I might say some really cheesy jokes once in a while. Don't mind me. It's just the way I am. Just ask my student. Ask not my student, but one of these students. She's laughing at me now. Just kidding. So yeah. So one of the things, one of the things that were taught, I shouldn't say one of the things, but the thing that was taught to me by David Ferris is the seven stages, the seven rites of passages of what he calls is an honorable human being. Now, these teachings and these ceremonies start from the very, very beginning in one's life. And so these are a set of ceremonies, and the teachings that go along with them help and support the young person with love. Over the years, over the centuries, that's one thing that was lost. It was starting to get lost in many, many, many families' homes, is that the teaching of love, especially when it comes to such a young person and a child and the unborn, is that teaching and those ways were lost in a way. There was the caregiving that was still there, yes, but there was other things that were forgotten. And for a lot of us, some Indigenous people that struggle with that nowadays, and that's I believe to be one of the causes of addictions, right? But I'm not going to get into that today. But these teachings here were meant for a purpose. And when I start talking about each individual ceremony and stuff like that, you're going to start picking up you're going to pick up on the what am I trying to say here? The connections between all the ceremonies and what they're doing for the child. So you're going to start picking them up. You're going to hear about what I'm going to call them themes, what the themes are for. And when I start talking about it, okay? So I am going to share my screen right now. Right now. I'm going to go over to the very tip of top. So this here is my PowerPoint presentation. Y'all see everything?
We do.
Okay. And there's my little face in the corner there. So this is a presentation that I made for one of the school boards here in Timmins. They asked me to talk a little bit about traditional parenting. So myself, I'm a father of one, a daughter. She is now 2.5 years old. And since she's been in our lives, my viewpoint on a lot of different things have been completely different. My world changed for the way better, for the complete better. So with that being said, I was asked to talk about traditional parenting and some things that traditionally parents would do for their kids and stuff that I would do for my child. So I whipped this together. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you. I'm actually going to skip the whole thing and go straight to the juicy stuff that I'm going to be talking about today. So I just wanted to look. There's me with medium hair. You can't see it. I'm not showing you that. All right. So here we are. This is the rites of passages. There are little pictures on here. I'm going to be explaining little. If you want, you can come and like look at that. There you go. Okay. So this here is some of the pictures that I wanted to look for on the interwebs that kind of share the story of these ceremonies. So, like I said, there's about seven ceremonies that that we go through as we grow up before we reach adulthood. So these are the ones that teach us about certain things. And like I said, you're going to be hearing me talking about like very similar things throughout the whole thing. And to be honest, many women do some of these things already, especially the first one, but we don't understand why we do it. There is a traditional and a spiritual reason why we do the first one. And that first one is what we call the mother-child connection. The mother-child connection ceremony. That is the first rite of passage that we as human beings go through in life. The first one that we introduce to our young ones. When the women are pregnant with the child, that is one of the most intense jobs there is to ever do, to make sure that baby is safe. The mother and child connection ceremony is that first connection you have with that baby. When you start talking to that unborn child, you start singing to that baby, you start showing love. Most women do that to their babies when they're in the womb. You talk to the womb, right? You say, hi, I love you, all that stuff. You're talking to that spirit of that baby. That's the first connection. That's one of the first connections that you have with that baby. You're showing that baby before it's put onto the world in the physical realm. You're showing that love. You're showing that care. You're showing that support. That is the first ceremony that we do with that baby. As well as the father. The father does the same thing. When my partner was pregnant, I'd always be talking to the womb. I'd be talking to the baby. I didn't really know her name yet, but I would still, call her my baby, my love, right? That is my little love. I would kiss the mother's stomach. I would support and do everything that I can to make sure my partner was happy, well fed, like really well fed. Like I think I gained more weight than she did, but I was really well fed myself. But I would do that. I would make sure that she was safe, and I'd always kiss and show love to that unborn child. So the parents are involved into that mother-child connection ceremony. One thing that we're told to do with our babies when they're in the womb is to sing for that baby, to sing songs. My partner and I would sing some songs to our child. I would sing some ceremony songs. I would sing some heavy metal. Just kidding. I mean, some people kind of hang around loud music, but that's okay. So, but I would, sing to that baby. My partner April, she would sing to the baby, and we would show love just like we were holding that child, right? But we would introduce that love, that care, that respect, that peacefulness to that baby before she's even here into this world. Now, right after that's over, after birth now, when the woman gives birth to the child. Now, these two ceremonies could be, the next 2 and 3 can be kind of swapped, but I'm going to say this is the second one for this one. So the second one is what we have, the placenta ceremony. Oh, I didn't even talk about the pictures. So the first picture, you can see the mother with the baby in the womb. That is, she's praising the baby, right? She's praying. She's doing everything with the child. Second picture is, as you can see, is the tree of life. But in the background there, see that dark picture? That's the imprint of the placenta. That's pretty cool, right? And all of our things that we do in life, it's we're all connected to that sacred tree of life. That tree is what connects us to life itself, to the nature, where we all come from in the very beginning. We're all just a branch of that tree of life. So that child is a direct connection to the tree of life. Direct connection. That first home, what takes care of that baby when it's in the womb, when he or she, when it's in the womb, right? That tree of life cares and cares for that baby, gives it what it needs. And that placenta resembles that tree of life almost completely identical. When my daughter was born, I managed and I was honored to see that. I got to see that placenta. Oh, somebody has my lunch upstairs. But I got to see that placenta. I got to see that tree of life, what was taking care of my baby, of our child while she was in the womb. Now, that ceremony that we do is that we honor the first home of that child. We honor that placenta. We honor the thing that was taking care of the baby. We honor the tree of life. And there's a big ceremony that they do out in the bush. I can't remember if it's only the woman or if it's the parents plus certain people, but there's different ways people do it. I've heard it done a couple of different ways too. But my partner and I did this together. We went out into the bush, we dug a hole, and we put that placenta back into nature. We put the home back into its home. We honored that home. We sang songs. I smoked pipe. We sang songs. We talked to that and said our thanks. Thank you for taking care. And I just remember that moment when I was filling in that hole. I felt very, very sad in a way. I was grieving. My partner and I were grieving for that home. It wasn't a bad grieving, but it was kind of like we were going to miss it in a way. You know, that safe spot, that safest place in the world for her. We're putting that back out into the bush. So that ceremony is to honor that first home. Okay, is everyone following so far? Did I lose anybody?
I'm still here. I think we're here.
Okay, cool. Perfect. If I lose anybody, my apologies in advance. Alrighty, on to the next. Now, the other one, remember I was saying the 2 and 3 can be flipped around? This is the welcoming ceremony. When we do ceremonies where I come from, sometimes we do the welcoming ceremony in like first, and then we do the placenta ceremony, but they like, I don't know, people do it a little differently. It's just the way they do it, right? No one's right or wrong the way they do their stuff, like the spirits, no one understands. So, welcoming ceremony. When we have our newborn child, we gather our friends, our family, knowledge keepers, and elders in the community. We get in one big circle. We have a sharing circle, and we have that baby there. And what happens in that ceremony, we honor that child's life. We bless that baby. Sometimes elders give spirit names to the baby right off the bat, or they see something in that child, and that's where that name comes from, right? And that ceremony, that child is passed around the family members. And when it gets to you, what the conductor tells you to do to that child is to look at the baby, kiss it in the forehead, and say, "I love you. You're gonna do great. You're gonna do great for the community. And what we're gonna do for you, we're gonna help you. We're gonna guide you," type of deal. And on to the next person. Same thing. That person would kiss that baby in the forehead. "I love you. I'm gonna do this for you. You're gonna do this for us." And it goes all the way around the circle, and then it gets back to the parents. And it's a big sharing circle, and they talk about certain things. Now, the purpose for that is to reintroduce that love to that baby. Everybody in the community shows love to that baby. What that represents is that community raising that child. Each and everybody in that circle is going to be doing different things to that child as they grow up. The elders, when they when they get to puberty rights, they're going to be sharing certain things. The parents are going to be doing things. The aunts and uncles are going to be doing things. the best friend of the parents are going to be doing certain things too, right? They're going to all work together to protect, nurture, and love the kid, love the child until they grow up, right? So then once again, the main purpose of of that ceremony is to show that love, to honor that child already, to show them that they're worth the world. They are the world, right? So that's the welcoming ceremony. And number four, I know you guys can't really see that too crazy good, but that's me. That's me. That's my partner, and that's my little baby girl. This was geez, it wasn't last year, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years. No. When was that? Not last fall. The fall before that. Does that make sense? Just a little bit after she was one, anyways. After she was 1 years old. What we do for the first year of the child's life is that we do not put the baby onto the ground. That's like outside ground. We don't put her in the sand. We don't put her in the water, outside water. We don't put her in the bush, but we can let her run around inside or on top of like a platform or like a blanket and stuff like that. That's to let that child develop. We let them grow to learn inside. And when that baby turns about one ish, when she starts walking, when he or she starts walking, we put them in the walkout ceremony. So it's different in different areas. They start in a teepee or a certain type of structure. They have a pipe ceremony. The parents are there, the baby, the grandparents, the other elders, and all the helpers. For me, when I did my walkout ceremony, there was me, my daughter, my partner, my mom was there, my teachers, they were the conductors, and my really good friends of mine who are singers. So they were the singing people there. And what we do is that we lay down balsam or evergreen boughs on the ground, and we get another tree, another evergreen. This one's balsam. I see the picture on the right there underneath the walkout ceremony. There's a tree there. That's a balsam tree. So that there represents life. That there represents medicine. That there represents the tree of life. It represents many different things. Their first home, right? So we bring that spirit to watch this little one as he or she walks on the land, on the ground for the first time. She's walking on medicine. So we dressed my daughter up to look like a granny, to look like an old lady, and it was the cutest thing ever. It's like a baby granny. She loved it. She we give her a little axe and some wood as well, little tiny, look like kindling, and she walks around the ground. She walks around that tree, representing what she's going to be doing for the community. You know, she's going to be doing stuff for the community, right? When she wears that outfit, she's going to be bringing something to people. Maybe it's going to be knowledge. Maybe she's going to be gifted in other things. She knows right now. And that's what the spirits were telling her when as she was walking. We do it early in the morning. I know I'm kind of jumping back and around, but it's just the way I roll. Once again, I'm very sorry if I lose people, but it's just how I talk. I can't control it sometimes. Anyways, we do it very early in the morning when the sun first starts to touch the earth. In the picture, that was pretty darn early. There was lots of, it was cold, but she was wearing like super warm stuff. Anyways, the reason why we do that so early in the morning, that's when the spirits start to come. That's when they start to reappear. In our culture, the sun, when it comes from the east, that's when the spirits start to come to the world. That's when they start to come around. So we introduce my daughter to the world. We introduce her to the spirits. We introduce her to life. So the first year she was learning all the other stuff. Now she's going to be learning all this stuff. She was introduced. So she walks around that circle. And then when she comes in, we have a little sharing circle. It was the coolest thing ever when we were doing our sharing circle, because there was me, you know how little kids are. They get a little anxious. They want to move away. They want to um, they want to turn it to jello and just like kind of slip off you and stuff like that. So usually she does that to us. But in the sharing circle, I remember holding her, or my mom was holding her, and she was just holding her there and was going to everybody in the circle who was talking. And I remember just looking at her. She was just sitting there looking at everybody talk, just casually looking at everybody. It's like she knew what they were saying. It's like she was told to listen to them. It was crazy because all those people, again, they're sharing what they're going to be doing for that child, right? Supporting, loving them. We show that love to that baby. But she was like listening to everybody in that circle now. And as soon as the conductor was done talking, turning into jello again and kind of slipped out of our hands and started running around everywhere. But it shows that like that what we do, it really impacts our children in a way. It shows them things that we forgot to show them. And it's not just the ceremony itself, right? It's the teachings behind it. We sometimes we forget to show those pieces to our little ones because they will remember, and they'll know that they were loved from the very beginning before they were even here. So that is the walkout ceremony, is the introduction to life, to the spirits. My daughter got her spirit name while she was there. Um, my spirit name is Sound of Thunder. My partner's name is Moonlight Woman. My daughter's name is Morning Sun Girl. So it's the I live with night and day. And I'm just a loved one. Just kidding. But our names they connect us in a certain way, right? It shows our family. My daughter is connected to the woman that gave her name. She's actually my one of my main teachers. That is my daughter's other grandmother, not by blood, but by spirituality. That's her great grandmother. So yeah, that is the walkout ceremony. Cool. And what am I else want to talk about? I'm going to skip number 5, which is the first kill. Well, I'm not going to skip it. I'll just explain it really quickly. So that ceremony is for the men, the young men, and the young females that get their first animals. So it could be a goose, it could be a moose. What we do with that ceremony is that we honor the life of that animal and honor the journey um, for that young person. I probably should have talked about this before, but in the walkout ceremony, the boys have a little bit different they walk around with. Sometimes they have bow and arrows, sometimes they have guns, and sometimes they're a little reversed, right? It all depends on the parents. But for one first kill ceremony, that is to honor that animal and the life of that animal, to share teachings with the young person, and as well as the teaching of respect. We always start with the teaching of respect, one of the main ones that we teach very young, to show the younger ones that everything is about respect. Whether it's an animal that we eat, whether it's a medicine that we pick off the tree, or our neighbors, our friends and family, and everything else, that we got to show respect and love to those people and those things, and they will show love and respect back. So everything that we do is along the lines of that love and respect, right? So that's what the first kill ceremony is to show respect and honor that life that has been given to us, that food, what it's going to be doing for us. And we share with the younger person that we got to share whatever we catch with all the people in the community, especially the elders first, and then we feed ourselves. But we always got to remember ourselves too, right? If we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of other people, correct? So yeah, that's the first kill. Number 6 would be the Snowshoe Ceremony. 6 and 7 could be kind of reversed as well sometimes, depending on age. But I've noticed that the Snowshoe Ceremony is usually a lot of the younger ones start doing that when they hit a certain age, when they start to go on a different life stage of life. So the Snowshoe Ceremony, they gather the kids, they dress them up in their traditional outdoor outfits. These people have their traditional jackets, they're in their traditional snowshoes, and they carry things. Some people drag canoe full of gifts. Some people just walk a long distance And when they get back from that walk, they have a nice feast with their community. They have a nice get together, and they talk about that. Now, the main reason why snowshoe ceremony, well, one of the reasons why the snowshoe ceremony is a thing is to teach the child of taking care of the community that took care of us from the beginning. So you guys, you could kind of see by now it's a give and receive type of thing, right? So we show respect, we get respect. We show love, we'll get love. All the community members were showing love and respect to that little one. And now we're teaching the little one to show and give love back. So for a while, I was wondering why these rites of passages were called rites of passages of an honorable human being. I was wondering why David would describe it like that. But as you can kind of tell by now, you're showing that child how to respect other people, how to love other people. We don't be mean to other people, expect everything from everyone else without giving things back to them, right? So that's what these ceremonies kind of teach. That's what these ceremonies teach to the younger ones. And last, we have puberty rights. So there's two ceremonies, one for the male, one for the female. So two different kinds of puberty rights, puberties, right? Men go through something different than females go through something. When the females start their moon time, when their menstrual cycle begins, they get put into what we call a strawberry fast. Long time ago, it was outside near the home. Nowadays, it's more inside. Some people keep the woman inside. They keep them in the room. They feed them with berries. I'm sorry. They feed them with berries. And when they're in this room, the parents go and get elders in the community, family members. So they bring in the elders, the female elders, and what that female elder does, they teach that woman, that new woman, about life. They teach her about life. They teach her about loving and respecting the other, our loved one. In the future, that woman is going to have a significant other, and so it's the elders that are the ones that teach that new woman, who just started their time, of how to respect their other person, and just everything about life, things that they're going to run into, other kind of teachings of what it means to have to start the menstrual cycle. When you're on your moon time, there are a set of teachings for that. There's a set of things that you can and can't do while you're on your time, especially with spiritual work. But that's where those elders kind of explain these things of why you can't do it. It's not to pity them, it's not to hurt them because of their moon time, but to embrace their moon time. They are at their highest point of their spiritual power. They are cleansing themselves, stuff that men can't do. They do things that men have a really hard time doing, which is cleansing and going through certain things, right? So it's to empower them about their moon time, not to discourage them, right? So that's what the puberty rights is to empower these people that are new to these things. They explain it all. They talk about a lot of different things that I don't even know about because I haven't gone through that. I don't ever will, because I don't have that gift, right? But they talk about all that stuff, and the main thing is that empowerment piece for that woman. That is that special thing. I've had talks with teens about that stuff before, and they literally told me that they don't feel that way. They were never taught that it was an empowerment thing. They were never taught that their menstrual cycle was a strong thing, that it was a gift. They were always so embarrassed by it. They never told anybody whenever they were, well, no one really does, but they were always so nervous of how getting their time. They were always so scared that people would find out and tease them for it, right? But that's one thing that I always like to share to that, is that it's a very empowering point of time for the females, that especially when they're young, right? Like they're so new to it and they don't get these teachings, but it's an empowering time, and that they're at their highest and their strongest point at that moment. They're at their strongest point. They are powerful beings. The ability to absorb things from people. That's how tough and strong they are. And as a man, and my partner, when she's on her time, she pretty much can throw me around. She doesn't, thank God. But it's like it's a strength thing too, right? Like there's other properties that it brings to the females that like I say, overpower men in that way. But and one of the main things that are taught into these as well um, when they're meeting with these elders is that when I remember when I was talking about that respect piece to the significant other, as well as that humility piece, that they're not bigger than anyone else either. They are very powerful beings, but they are no better than the men. Do you get what I mean about that? They're at, in a way, well, here's the equality line for that teaching, and the women are a little bit higher because of that. But it's an equal thing. They're not higher, nor are they lower than the men. Okay, that's one thing that is taught during those puberty rites, is that they're in a way equal, but they are. I shouldn't say they're not. They're not. I shouldn't say boss, but they are the main voice in the house. That's what the female is. They're the ones that are not in control of everything, but they're the ones that have the last say. Growing up, that's how my parents were. My dad was would say everything, do everything, but when my mom had something to say, he would listen to her completely. If it was they were trying to decide something, he would suggest a few things, she would suggest a few things. But whatever she wanted to do, that's what they would do. Not because she was right, but my father respected her wishes. I only wanted her to be happy. But it would also make him happy seeing her happy. You know how that whole thing goes, as long as they're both. Anyways, now for the men, they have their own puberty rights as well. But for them, it's a different kind of fasting. When their voices start to change, when they talk like this, and all of a sudden they're talking a little bit lower, that is one of the signs of that puberty happening, right? So when that happens, they put these young men into a fast. So I don't remember if it's a 4-day fast or not, but they put them into a fast. So within this fast, the exact same thing would happen. A bunch of men, elders from the community, would come in, talk to that men about their roles and responsibility, tell to them about that respect and that love piece of their significant others, tell them about that equality, that respecting, and that humility piece, right? They're no bigger, they're no better, they're no lesser than the females or everybody else in the community. They're just there to help, they're just there to support, to love, right? Their jobs, their roles and responsibilities, not to step on other people, not to step on themselves either, to kind of show them self-respect, right? So those ceremonies of the puberty rites for both men and female are there to kind of teach them about life. You could see why these ceremonies are kind of long, especially for these ones were through 2 to 4 days, right? So there's lots of teachings there. There's like everything that I've explained, right? There's the respect, there's the love, there's the equality, there's the humility, there's the roles and responsibilities, and there's all that stuff. But it's there to humble a person. It's there to empower them, right? So that one day they're going to be those elders. They're going to be referring to the people that taught them. These 7 rites of passages is to kind of help guide the young people to that place. It helps them from before they were born right up into they turn into an adult, to the beginning of adulthood, to teach them what it means to be loved, what it means to be cared for, and what it means to be respected. It teaches them what it means to love other people, what it means to protect other people, what it means to respect other people and things, not just people, but life itself. And when I mean life itself, I'm talking to the smallest little creatures, like an ant, to a tree, to the water, to the rocks, All those have a specific purpose. And us as humans, just we're here to respect that. Not we shouldn't be getting in their way of what they got to do, unless we bring tobacco and ask them to help us out. But that's another story for another time. But I hope I didn't lose anybody about these rites of passages. Is everyone okay?
We're here, Nathan,
Yeah,
and
okay.
there's been some conversation in the chat. There was a question asked, if I may. There was a question asked, you shared your spirit names for you and your family, and there was just a curiosity on, are you able to share how those names came to you or how you chose them?
I'm just going to talk about myself because that'll be their story for their time. Our names represent who we are, and they come in various different ways. For myself personally, I've done a 4-day fast for mine. So I was outside in the bush for 4 days and nights, no food, no water, all by my lonesome, talking to my 2 other personalities. Just kidding. But I was all by myself out there in the bush. So when I came back, went into a sweat lodge, that's what they told me. Your spirit name is Sound of Thunder. And I had to kind of figure that out myself. So over the years, I've been figuring out what that actually means. Right? So it has its own description and own thing there is to my name. And it represents me, who I am, and my roles and responsibilities out in the community as well. And I don't know if I should explain my name right now, but it has its own meaning. As you can probably tell, I am a singer in a drum group.
Right.
I do lots of singing. I do lots of screaming. So that's one way that I use my voice, right? So the thunder is the voice. Mm-hmm. It's the voice of the spirit. It's the voice of the human being. When we hear thunder, that's something speaking out in the bush, in the sky, it's telling us something. So my name represents the voice, a voice, right? My voice. Now the thunder itself can either be scary or a peaceful thing. Mm-hmm. So it's my job to use my voice in a positive way. That's my gift. And in our clans, also teach us something. The Wolf clan represents humility in the 7 grandfather teachings. So that's one thing that I got to really keep in my head, right? That's why I explain myself. That's why I tell who I am. I am no better than you guys. I am no better than anyone else here in this whole circle. Just because I know a little bit more than you doesn't make me any better. I just have a different gift than y'all. But when we all get together, when we all share our gifts with one another, that is what creates that powerful piece, is that we're all sharing our gifts. I just have one gift myself. That's it. Sydney, you have your own gift. You bring all these people together. That's a gift on its own. So yeah, right? Like that's my clan. That it keeps me to remember that I'm just a small piece of the puzzle. And I to use my voice in that way.
We really appreciate that you've been willing to come and share your voice here. Is there anything, we're sort of in the wrapping up stages, Nathan.
Oh, no.
I wanted to give you a couple more. We do, we have a bit of flexibility if there's more you wanted to share. Another couple minutes.
I think that's about it. I was asked to talk a little bit about the sweetgrass braid. You've all seen the sweetgrass braid, right? It's literally just a braid. It looks like a braid. Mm-hmm. And we use that as medicine. I just want to say this really quickly. The sweetgrass braid, one of the representations of the sweetgrass braid is the binding between the 7 generations before us, the seven grandfather teachings and our teachings of now, the 7 pipes and all that stuff. And the last braid represents the 7 teachings, 7 generations after us. Now, everything that I do is going to impact the next 7 generations after me. So we got to remember that when we use these ceremonies and we use these teachings, it's going to impact that child. It's going to impact my daughter's daughter, and then from so on, so forth. So everything that we do is is the combination between the 7 before, the 7 teachings that we have now, and the 7 after. That's what the sweetgrass braid represents. When we braid our hair, it represents sweetgrass. When we braid our hair, it represents that strength between before, now, and after. And when we use that medicine, that's what we're asking for. That's what we're praying about, right? We're asking that positivity for now, after, before. Cool, eh? So these rites of passages will be handed down through time, 7 generations from now. For my daughter, she's the first one to go through the walkout ceremony in my family since who knows? I don't know when the last time anyone in my bloodline has gone through that. So it's already shifting in my own family. She's the first girl in my house since who knows when who's gone through a ceremony before she was even born.
Right.
Who had the placenta ceremony, right? Yeah. So for her to grow up, I grew up around these ceremonies. I grew up with these teachings. Hasn't been done in quite a while. So I'm really honored as a father to share those things with her.
We can, I don't know, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but I can certainly feel the emotion and the passion and the excitement, just, yeah, in your voice. And it's really, really wonderful. Just thank you so much. I'm so delighted and feel lucky to hear your own stories and what you've shared with us around these rites of passage. And I don't know if you've been able to see, Nathan, but there's lots of gratitude in the chat for you, just lots of miigwech and thanking you for your time and sharing your stories. And I think I might jump on camera with you again, if that's okay, because I have a couple of quiz questions. We have a couple of gift cards to give away. And so I've been listening to you, and I've got a couple of questions to ask people to answer in the chat to win a gift card. If I may, unless there was, have I cut you off though? Was there anything else you wanted to say in wrapping up?
Okay. No, you're good. I just, well, maybe I guess I could say thank you now. Thank you for inviting me to this. I'm very honored to share this this stuff, but like I said before, I'm not like the extreme master of all these things. I don't know everything, so that's why I just want to remind everybody, if you are interested in certain things like this, please reach out to some people in your own communities who may know the stuff or who do it in their own way, right? So
good advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the first question I have is, Nathan talked a lot about showing love and respect. And he said, if we show love and respect, what will we get back? So the first person to respond to that. So if we show love and respect, what do we get back? We get back love and respect, right? So who was pretty quick on the draw there? Lots of people were really listening to you there, Nathan. Let's see here. Oh, sorry, goodness, okay. Tabitha is the first winner. Congratulations, Tabitha. That's awesome. Okay, one more question, and this is an important one. So what, here, let me just copy it. What province was Nathan and me born in? See if you're, okay, people are getting that right. All right, Saskatchewan, the prairies. Okay, who was the first here? Kylie Marion is the winner of our second gift card. So congratulations, Tabitha and Kylie, and I'll be in touch. If you don't hear from me within a week, please give me an email back just to make sure that I have your contact information. And I'm going to stop recording now. And again, thank you, Nathan. It's so great to have you here, and just really enjoy hearing what you have to say. And hopefully we can have more conversations. Right. All right.